Knocker, if I could stand in front of my 20-year-old self, I wouldn't scold him. I wouldn't lecture him. I'd sit him down, look him dead in the eyes and say, "You have no idea what you're capable of. But you're wasting time chasing things that don't matter. There are 6 things I wish I had known back then. 6 truths that would save me years of pain. And maybe, just maybe, they'll save you. At 20, you believe your friends are forever. You think the people you're laughing with at 2 a.m., the ones you share your secrets with, your adventures, your dreams, they're going to be with you for life. You imagine weddings, road trips, careers rising side by side. You don't realize it yet, but life has a way of shifting people. Not always in big, dramatic explosions. Sometimes it's a quiet drift. A new job, a new mindset, a decision that takes you down different roads, and without even noticing, the people who once felt like family become names you no longer say out loud. It's one of the hardest truths to swallow. Not everyone is meant to stay. When you're young, you bond over shared time, classes, hobbies, neighborhoods. You don't yet realize how much values, direction, ambition, and character will matter later on. You don't realize that one day someone you call your best friend may grow comfortable in mediocrity while you hunger for growth. You'll push forward and they'll stay behind. Or worse, they'll pull you back. You'll speak about goals and they'll roll their eyes. You'll want more and they'll accuse you of changing. But here's what I wish someone had told me at 20. Changing is not betrayal. Outgrowing people isn't cruelty, it's maturity. You are not obligated to shrink to fit into the space someone refuses to leave. See, loyalty is admirable, but loyalty without alignment is a trap. You end up fighting to maintain connections that no longer feed you. You laugh at jokes that don't amuse you. You tolerate conversations that drain you. You pretend the bond is still there because you're afraid of being alone. But loneliness surrounded by the wrong people is far worse than actual solitude. The real ones, the ones who belong in your future, won't resent your growth. They won't guilt-trip you for evolving. They'll celebrate your wins, even if they're still fighting their own. They'll challenge you, not compete with you. They'll hold you accountable, not hostage. And as you rise, they'll rise with you. But most people, we're only meant for a chapter, not the whole book. Let them go without bitterness. Not everyone who leaves your life is a villain. Sometimes they were exactly who you needed at the time. They helped you laugh when you were broken. They stood beside you when you were lost. And for that, be grateful. But don't chain your future to memories that no longer reflect your direction. You'll learn, slowly and sometimes painfully, that some friendships survive on routine, not depth. You're just used to them. You're used to texting them when something happens, even if the conversation no longer excites you. You're used to their presence, even if it no longer brings peace. And breaking that habit feels like losing a limb, but growth always costs comfort. The people who truly matter will find their way back or stay through the storm, but most won't. And you can't waste your life mourning people who made a choice to stop growing with you. You don't need a massive circle. You don't need dozens of people clapping for you on the surface while secretly resenting your progress. You need 2 or 3 real ones. People who see your vision, who speak your name with respect behind your back, who tell you the truth even when it hurts, who clap the loudest when you win and sit quietly with you when you lose. It's better to walk alone in purpose than follow the crowd in confusion. And here's the real kicker. The sooner you let go of the wrong people, the sooner the right ones can find you. The kind of people who inspire you to be better, who challenge you to go further, who don't just accept who you are, but push you to become who you could be. So, don't cling. Don't beg for attention. Don't chase dead friendships out of guilt or nostalgia. If someone wants to leave your life, let them go. Don't water yourself down to stay likable. Don't lower your standards to fit in. Protect your energy like it's currency, because it is. And one day you'll look around and realize the people who are still standing beside you are not just friends. They're your tribe, your circle, your foundation. At 20, I didn't understand it. I fought to keep friendships alive long after they were dead. I feared the silence. I feared the loneliness. But now I know losing people is part of finding yourself. It's not a failure. It's a filter. And what you're left with after the dust settles is real. So if you're feeling that distance now, if you're wondering why some people no longer call, no longer check in, no longer feel close, don't panic. Don't chase. Let life do what it does best. Let it reveal who belongs in your next chapter. 20. I used to say time is money, thinking it made me sound wise. But now, years later, I know that saying is wrong. Dead wrong. Time is not money. Time is life. You can lose money and earn it back. You can go broke and rebuild. But time, once it's gone forever. You don't get a refund. You don't get a do-over. And you can't buy more, no matter how rich you are. The problem is, when you're young, you feel like you have all the time in the world. You think you'll start later. You think there's no rush, that your 30s or 40s are when life really begins. So you waste hours scrolling, binge-watching, chasing distractions, and entertaining people who don't add value to your journey. You say yes to everything and end up scattered, chasing short-term dopamine instead of long-term growth. And the tragedy is, you don't even notice your bleeding time. That's the danger. It's not the massive failures that kill dreams. It's the small compromises. The just 5 more minutes. The I'll do it tomorrow. It's death by 1,000 distractions. No one teaches you this when you're young. No one pulls you aside and says, hey, your future depends on how you spend your Tuesday afternoon. No one warns you that one wasted day turns into a wasted week, and a wasted week into a wasted year. And before you know it, you wake up and wonder how you became stuck. How your life started to feel average, heavy, and hollow. You blame luck. You blame other people. But deep down, if you're honest, you realize you gave your time to things that didn't matter. You spent it like it was unlimited. You see, the most successful people don't have more hours in the day than you do. They just respect their time more. They treat it like the most precious asset they own, because it is. They don't waste mornings scrolling through nonsense or nights partying with people who won't matter a year from now. They understand something powerful. Every hour is a vote for the person you're becoming. What you do with your time is the loudest statement you make about your priority. So ask yourself, what are you building with your time? Are you learning? Are you growing? Are you using this season to lay foundations for the future? Or are you just passing time, waiting for life to begin? The truth is, life has already begun, and it's happening right now as you read these words. This is not the prelude. This is the main event. There's no backstage. You're on the stage already. And every moment you let slip away is a brick you didn't lay in the foundation of your own potential. I look back and think about all the time I gave to people who didn't deserve it. All the hours I spend trying to fit in, trying to impress, trying to be liked. I remember the late nights doing nothing, the mornings I slept through, the weekends I wasted on distractions instead of development. I could have read more. I could have learned a skill. I could have taken risks, made moves, planted seeds, because I thought I had time. That's the greatest illusion of youth, the idea that you'll always have more time to fix things, more time to chase dreams, more time to start. You won't. Every second that passes is a second closer to the end of your story, and that should scare you. Not because life is short, but because it's fast. You don't notice the years until they're gone. One day you're 20, then you blink and you're 30, wondering where the time went. But here's the good news. It's not too late. You have this moment. You're breathing, you're alive, and as long as you have today, you still have a chance to change everything. You still have time to start valuing your time. Start protecting it like your future depends on it, because it does. Say no more often. Block out time to work on yourself. Make your growth non-negotiable. Cut out time wasters, dream killers, energy drainers. Your time is not a playground for other people's problems. It's not a dumping ground for distractions. It's your legacy in the making. Use your mornings to prepare for war. Use your nights to reflect and reload. Fill your days with intention, not just activity. Because there's a difference between being busy and being productive. There's a difference between movement and progress. Don't just move. Advance. And please, don't just work hard for a paycheck. Work hard for purpose. Money without meaning is just survival. But when you invest your time in something bigger than yourself, when you use it to build something lasting, you don't just survive, you live. So if I could go back and speak to my 20-year-old self, I wouldn't give him money, connections, or even knowledge. I'd give him this one truth. Your time is your life, and how you spend it will determine who you become, what you build, and whether or not you'll be proud of the life you lived. 20, I thought motivation was everything. I believe success came to those who were inspired, who felt a fire in their chest every day, who woke up hungry and excited to chase their dreams. I waited for that feeling. I looked for it in YouTube videos, books, quotes, and speeches. I'd get pumped up, ready to take on the world, but then something would happen. A bad day, a failure, a loss of interest. And just like that, the fire would fade, and so would my progress. What I didn't know back then is that motivation is fragile. It's a mood. It's an emotion, it's weather, it changes. And if your goals depend on motivation, they'll die the moment your feelings do. Motivation is great for getting started, but it's not what keeps you going. What keeps you going is discipline. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. Discipline is the decision to follow through not once, but every single day, no matter your mood, no matter the obstacles, no matter the noise. Motivation whispers, let's go. But discipline commands, we go anyway. That's the difference between amateurs and professionals. Amateurs work when they feel inspired. Professionals work regardless. Amateurs wait for the right mood. Professionals create systems that don't rely on moods. The truth is, if you want to build anything lasting, whether it's a business, a body, a relationship, or a legacy, your emotions can't be the driver. Your principles must be. Discipline is hard. That's why it's rare. It's not sexy. It's not glamorous. It doesn't always feel good. Waking up early when you're tired, saying no when temptations scream yes, sticking to the plan when distractions are everywhere, that's the gritty, unfiltered side of greatness most people run from. But here's the truth. You don't become unstoppable by doing what's easy. You become unstoppable by doing what's necessary. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you build trust in your own word. Every time you show up, even when it's hard, you're telling your future self, you can count on me. That's the foundation of real confidence. Not fake hype, not loud speeches, but a quiet, consistent record of doing what matters. Discipline doesn't start big, it starts small. It starts with showing up to the gym, even when you're sore. It starts with reading 10 pages, even when you're tired. It starts with writing one paragraph, even when the inspiration is gone. And those small acts compound, they build momentum, they form habits. And over time they create results so powerful that people around you will call you lucky or gifted, never realizing it was just discipline in disguise. The most successful people I've met aren't always the smartest, the fastest, or the most talented. They're the ones who outlasted everyone else. They're the ones who kept going after others quit. They're the ones who showed up on the hard days, who built their discipline like a muscle until it became unshakable. Discipline also teaches you one of life's most valuable lessons. You don't have to feel like doing something in order to do it. You don't need permission from your emotions. You don't need to wait until you feel ready. You simply start. You act your way into the feeling, not the other way around. Action creates clarity. Action creates progress. And often, the motivation you're waiting for shows up after you. There's another truth discipline reveals. Your future is not built in breakthroughs. It's built in boring consistency. That's the part no one celebrates. The early mornings, the late nights, the missed parties, the silent sacrifices. That's the grind. And if you can learn to fall in love with the process, you become dangerous. Because now your success is no longer tied to luck or mood. It's tied to habit, to repetition, to effort. And the beautiful irony, the more disciplined you become, the more freedom you gain. Most people think discipline is restrictive. It's not. Chaos is restrictive. Regret is restrictive. Discipline, on the other hand, gives you control over your time, your habits, your results, and your life. When you master discipline, you're no longer a slave to cravings, distractions, or excuses. You become the master of your fate. At 20, I thought success was about being in the right state of mind, and now I know It's about creating the right systems, showing up when no one is watching, doing the work especially when it's uncomfortable. Because those who succeed aren't the ones who feel motivated the most. They are the ones who keep moving forward, especially on the days they don't. So if you're 20 now, and you're waiting for the perfect moment, the right feeling, the surge of motivation to begin, stop waiting. Begin anyway. Start small. Be consistent. Be boring. Be relentless. Show up. Again and again. Because in the end, it's not about who works the hardest when it's easy. It's about who keeps showing up when it's not. That's the real key. That's discipline. And that's what changes everything. At 20, I used to think that being smart meant knowing all the answers. That intelligence was about quick wit, sharp memory, and saying the right thing at the right time. I thought that the goal was to be the loudest voice in the room, to prove I was right, to win debates, to outshine. But now I understand something far more powerful. Being teachable is more valuable than being intelligent. The truth is, intelligence without humility is useless. You can be the smartest person in the room and still fail if you're not willing to listen, learn, and grow. Life isn't a classroom with clear instructions. It's messy, it throws curveballs, it demands adaptation. And those who can't evolve because they think they already know it all are the first to fall behind. See, the most dangerous mindset you can have is, I already know that. Because the moment you believe you've arrived is the moment you stop growing. The world doesn't reward the person who knew it all at 20. It rewards the person who kept learning at 30, 40, and 50. It rewards the person who asks questions, who seeks feedback, who studies the game, even after they've won a few rounds. Being teachable means you're not afraid to admit what you don't know. It means you don't let pride block your progress. It means you're willing to be the student even when you've been the teacher. It's having the courage to unlearn what's no longer working. It's choosing growth over ego, progress over pride. Some of the most brilliant minds I've met weren't the ones with the best degrees, with the flashiest resumes. They were the ones who sat quietly in the back of the room, taking notes, asking questions, listening more than they spoke. They didn't need to prove they were smart. They were too busy getting smarter. And let me tell you this, life will humble you. If you walk into a new job thinking you know it all, you'll get passed up. If you start a business thinking you've figured it out, the market will correct you. If you enter a relationship thinking you have all the answers, life will expose every emotional blind spot you tried to ignore. Arrogance is a trap that looks like confidence, but it leads to stagnation. Teachable people survive. Teachable people evolve. Teachable people win in the long run. And teachability isn't just about listening to people who are ahead of you. Sometimes the most profound lessons come from unexpected places, from someone younger, from someone different, from failure, from discomfort, from criticism. If your ego is too big to accept where wisdom hides, you'll miss 90% of what life is trying to teach you. I've learned more from listening than from speaking. I've grown more from my mistakes than from my wins. I've advanced further from admitting I was wrong than from pretending I was right. That's the paradox. The more you're willing to be the student, the faster you become the master. The more you surrender your pride, the more wisdom you gain. And here's the thing about teachability. It's a decision. It's not something you're born with. It's something you choose. Every time you face feedback, you can choose to defend yourself or develop yourself. Every time someone challenges your perspective, you can choose to shut down or open up. Every time you fail, you can choose to make excuses or extract the lesson. Most people never make that choice. They spend their lives defending their ego. They fear looking weak, so they pretend they know more than they do. They avoid growth because growth requires vulnerability, and so they stay stuck. Talented but stagnant. Smart but unteachable. Loud but lost. But if you choose to be teachable, if you decide that growth is more important than looking good, everything changes. You attract mentors. You spot opportunities. You recover from setbacks faster. You build resilience, wisdom, and strength that is loud, but it's undeniable. The world doesn't need more know-it-alls. It needs more learners. More people willing to say, teach me. More people willing to ask, how can I be better? And when you adopt that mindset, no failure can stop you. No setback can break you. Because even when you lose, you learn. And when you learn, if I could go back and talk to my 20-year-old self, I tell him, don't waste time trying to impress people with how much you know. Invest your energy in becoming someone who's constantly learning. Stay curious. Stay humbled. Stay open. Because the most powerful person in the room is never the one who knows it all. Being teachable isn't weakness. It's the ultimate strength. At 20, I thought I had forever. I thought real friendships would just last. I believed that the people around me would always be there, that the late-night talks, the inside jokes, the effortless connection would somehow remain untouched by time. But life doesn't work like that. Life moves. People change. Priorities shift. And if you don't learn to protect and nurture the right relationships, even the best ones will fade into memory. One of the hardest truths I've learned is that relationships, whether friendships, romantic, or family, don't stay strong by default. They require effort, attention, and intention. They need to be watered like plants. If you don't show up, check in, and give time, those bonds slowly wither, and by the time you realize it, the connection is gone. At 20, I didn't understand that. I thought the people who mattered to me would always be close, even if I stopped reaching out. I let ego, pride, and distractions get in the way. I didn't say what I felt. I didn't forgive fast enough. I didn't check in when I should have. And now, there are people I love deeply who feel like strangers. Not because we stopped caring, but because we stopped showing it. The truth is, people won't always be around. Friends move, loved ones pass away. Time steals moments you thought you'd have forever. And one of the biggest regrets people carry isn't what they did, but what they didn't do. The words they didn't say, the calls they didn't make, the hugs they didn't give. Don't let that be your story. You don't need 1,000 people in your life. You need a handful of real ones. People who see you, support you, challenge you, and celebrate your growth. But even the real ones won't stick around if you take them for granted. You have to earn those bonds over and over again through trust, consistency, and presence. Presence is underrated. In a world full of distractions, just being there, fully there, means more than you realize. Put your phone down when someone is talking. Ask how someone is doing, and really listen to the answer. Send that message. Make that call. Not because you need something, not because it's convenient, but because people matter. Connection matters. And nothing in your life will bring you as much meaning as the relationships you build and protect. Being there when it's easy is common, but being there when it's hard, when someone's struggling, when you're tired, when it's inconvenient, that's rare. That's what builds unbreakable bonds. The people you check in on during their dark days will never forget it. The ones you stood by when they had nothing will value you more when they have everything. And yes, sometimes protecting relationships means having hard conversations. It means speaking the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. It means calling your friend out when they're self-destructing. It means apologizing when you're wrong, even if your pride screams not to. Real relationships survive storms, but only if you're willing to face them instead of hiding from them. Sometimes it also means letting go. Not everyone is meant to stay forever. Some people are in your life for a season, a lesson, a chapter, not the whole book. And that's okay. Don't force connections that don't align with your growth. But never cut people off just because of one disagreement or one awkward moment. Fight for the ones who fight for you. At 20, I didn't understand the value of time spent with the right people. I chased status. I chased attention. I wasted time with people who didn't really care about me, all while neglecting the ones who did. I let ego speak louder than love. I let silence replace words that needed to be said. But now I know better. Now I know. So protect your people. Guard your circle. Be the friend who shows up. Be the sibling who checks in. Be the partner who listens. Be the son or daughter who calls home. These simple acts, the texts, the visits, the moments, they may not seem like much now, but later you realize they were everything. Because in the end, when you look back on your life, it won't be the money, the trophies, or the followers that matter. It will be the memories, the laughter, the tears, the people, the relationships you nurtured, the love you gave. That's what will echo. That's what will live on. So if you're 20 now, or whatever age, reach out. Speak up. Forgive. Apologize. Laugh harder. Hug longer. Be present. Because the most important things in life aren't things. They're people. And the best time to start protecting your relationships was yesterday. The next best time is now. When I was 20, I thought failure was the enemy. I saw it as a sign that I wasn't good enough, smart enough, or ready. I believed failure was something to avoid at all costs, a mark of shame that meant I'd messed up. So I hesitated. I second-guessed myself. I stayed inside my comfort zone. I told myself I'd try later when I was more prepared, more confident, more certain. But the truth I wish I'd learned then is this. Failure isn't your enemy. It's your greatest teacher. The people who win in life aren't the ones who never fail. They're the ones who aren't afraid to fail. They're the ones who fall, learn, and rise again, stronger, smarter, and sharper than before. The greatest breakthroughs in life, business, relationships, and personal growth don't come from playing it safe. They come from risking failure, facing it, and using it as fuel. Failure strips away the illusion. It exposes your weaknesses, your blind spots, your excuses. And while that may sound brutal, it's a gift. Because you can't fix what you won't face. Failure forces you to confront the truth about your efforts, your discipline, your mindset. It shows you where you stand, and more importantly, where you need to grow. Every successful person you admire, every entrepreneur, athlete, artist, or leader has failed more times than they can count. But they didn't let those failures define them. They didn't let them stop them. They used those moments as stepping stones. They studied what went wrong, adjusted, and tried again. They treated failure like data, not defeat. At 30, I wish I'd embraced this. I wish I'd taken more risks, started more projects, spoken up more often, and gone after things even if I wasn't fully ready. I wish I'd realized that every failure was shaping me, sharpening me, teaching me what no book or lecture ever could. I wish I had understood that failure isn't the opposite of success. It's the path to it. Fear of failure is what keeps most people average. It's what convinces you to settle, to stay quiet, to not apply, not ask, not start. But here's what that fear never tells you. The pain of inaction will haunt you far longer than the sting of failure ever will. At least when you fail, you grow. At least when you try, you learn. But when you hesitate, when you hold back, you rob yourself of experience, wisdom, and momentum. And here's something else I've learned. Failure builds resilience. It toughens your spirit. When you survive the embarrassment, the loss, the setback, you gain a kind of unshakable strength. Suddenly, you're not so fragile. You stop fearing people's opinions. You stop needing everything to go perfectly. You become bold. You become dangerous. Because you've seen the worst, and you kept moving anyway. But to get to that place, you have to reframe how you see failure. You have to stop treating it like a final verdict. It's not. It's feedback. It's redirection. Sometimes failure is just life nudging you away from something mediocre towards something extraordinary. The job you didn't get, the relationship that ended, the door that closed. Those might not have been failures at all. They might have been setups for something better. The problem is, we judge too soon. We look at a temporary loss and label it permanent. We take one bad outcome and turn it into a personal identity. I failed becomes I'm a failure. And that's where we get stuck. But if you can shift your perspective, if you can see failure as part of the process rather than the end of it, you unlock a kind of freedom that most people never find. You stop needing to be perfect. You stop needing to have it all figured out. You start showing up, trying things, and learning as you go. And the more you do that, the better you get. The people who win big in life are not the ones who start off the best. They're the ones who stay in the game the longest. They're the ones who keep showing up when everyone else quits. At 20, I thought my failures meant I wasn't cut out for success. Now I see that my failures were carving the path. Each one taught me something I couldn't have learned any other way. Each one revealed a deeper strength I didn't know I had. And now, I don't fear failure. I expect it. I plan for it. I welcome it, because I know that every time I fail forward, I move closer to who I'm meant to be. So if you're standing at the edge of a decision, if you're scared to try because you might fail, do it anyway. Fail fast, fail often, just Don't fail the same way twice. Learn, adjust, keep moving, because your willingness to fail is the very thing that will separate you from everyone else who's still waiting to feel ready. In the end, it's not the failures that define you, it's what you do with them. Will you let them break you, or will you let them build you? The choice is yours. But remember, the only real failure is not trying at all. Everything else is progress.